This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s, a legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash.
Ready to step out of the financial history museum? At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
Let your imagination take flight with an AI-powered PC from Lenovo. Whether it's creating digital art, designing new software, or building a portfolio for a future career, our PCs are powered by Intel Core Ultra processors to help students unlock smarter learning and unleash their creativity. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. All you have to do is choose the one that fits your passion. Head to Lenovo.com to shop AI PCs and find your perfect companion. Plus, get 5% off when you create an education account.
Check out our contest page now to see how you can win a pair of passes to an advanced screening of Jurassic World Rebirth.
Jurassic World Rebirth.
Starring Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey in theaters July 2nd. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter today.
That sounds like a heck of a movie. I might want to go see it with some friends. Hey, hour number 2. Little Lenny and Squiggy leading the Minnesota Timberwolves now. Let's go ahead and do a little 5, 3, 4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hip hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
The Twins rallied from a 5-run deficit to tie the game, but Joan Duran plunked 2 batters, gave up a sacrifice fly in the 9th inning, and the Twins lost the Mariners 6-5 last night at Target Field. Twins have now lost 11 of their past 12 and 6 straight at home. That's their longest home losing streak in 9 years. Common, what sticks out to you from last night's Twins loss?
That it wasn't a beatdown. That they actually only gave up, was it 6 runs? That's an improvement. I'm trying to look at the glass half full with this team. By the way, closed circuit to the text messages said we're only 2 games out of the wild card. Why don't you just calm down?
Yeah.
We're now 4 out of the wild card.
Surprised that's all we are.
Yeah, well, it might even be more. Every time they lose, I just add on a game is all I'm doing. So, I've never worried about accuracy. I'm glad you are here for me.
We're 4.5 back.
4.5 back.
Yeah.
It's even worse than I thought. So that's what I take from that. I had some other numbers from that too, but you nailed 2 of them. Did you say the one where is it a 6-game home losing streak, our longest in 9 years? In 9 years. If we lost now, is it 13 of 16 or 14 of 17, whatever it is, it's as bad a streak as we've seen. And it was similar to the loss. The other one, Ober gave up a 6 spot. And if 6 were 9, he would have given up 9 runs, but it was only 6 in one inning. And then Paddock gave up 5 yesterday in an inning. Then we did roar back, and then Duran came in. And, the manager said all the right things. I'd give him the ball again, and I plan on doing it many, many times from here. That old. It's like, I know, you still trust him. And every reliever, that's what I've been harping on forever, that we have this formula where it's always try to get 6 out of your guys and go to 7th inning, 8th inning, 9th inning. Guys, well, there are going to be times that your starter or your 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guy just aren't going to have it. Get the fans out of the first 5 rows out of left field, and Duran didn't have it. He plunks 2 hitters. That's your guy that's closing. That have to hurt, too, because he throws 100 miles an hour. I'd rather get hit by a knuckleballer, right? Ball travels about 59 miles an hour. It's like getting bit by a flea. You get hit by a 100-mile fastball. It's like getting hit by a car. So, and again, Duran, was he like reliever of the month back in, was it May or April? I think it was May. He was reliever of the month. I don't have his numbers right in front of me, but this rings a bell that he's had a few outings like this as of late, where he hasn't done what he's supposed to do, and that is going to happen. That's the danger of having a pitching staff that's struggling, because you just don't know what's coming next. And they lose with a couple of hits. Batsman, was there a walk there too? 2 hits, batsman, single, sacrifice fly, end of game. And Twins again had more opportunities than. Matter of fact, they could have wriggled out of one earlier. I think Rob wriggled out of an inning, and then there was a blunder. I think it was Paddock blundered. It was a slow roller. Brooks Lee calls him off, but the quote from Paddock is like, "Well, I thought it was going to be a bang bang play. Had to hurry it up." Well, he threw the ball away, and that extended the inning. And it's like, leave it to your fielders. The fielder calls you off. You're the pitcher. And I like Paddock. I watched one. I don't watch much Twins baseball. I'm not paying as close attention to the Twins as I once did. But where they put the headset on the guy while he's in the dugout, and then they'll go to a play, and then they'll go back to the dugout and talk. And they had Paddock on. And he's a baseball player. There's no question about that. He's got all the cliches, but he's focused. He means well. I liked his interview. I liked what he had to say. And so he's a gamer. He's a ball player, and so he's trying to do the right things. But that's a play I think you just gotta. And would have made a difference in the outcome of the game. I have no idea, but I do know that was a blunder that day they couldn't overcome.
Question number 2. It's time now for multiple choice.
Comment, which headline at ESPN.com would you most likely click on? A, Celtics to trade Porzingis to Hawks. B, Kyrie to sign new 3-year deal with Mavs. C, second baseman Marte in tears after fans taunt about late mom. D, Pirates remove Cruz after he loses track of outs. E, arbiter says NFL urged clubs to limit guarantees. Or F, NCAA nears decision on larger tourney.
Could you read those again? No. Well, the one that I'm more curious about, but that I'm sad about, why were they taunting about his mom? Did his mom die or something? Well,
his mom died in a car accident. I thought it was like 7-8 years ago. And not sure what the fan said, but the fan apparently was taunting him. And I've just seen the video of him actually breaking down in tears. Like he's on the field, just breaking down and being consoled by teammates and his manager. Not sure exactly what the fan said regarding the mother, but the fan did get ejected.
Why didn't somebody else why didn't the other stands revolt and just beat him about the kidneys with large sticks till he urinated blood? What's wrong with people? And like I said, those are the stories. I'm saddened by them. Not necessarily sickened.
Yeah.
But just saddened by that's actually what it's come to. Who is this person?
There's some sick people out there.
Really sick people. A lot of people are sick. And the other one was, who was the one that didn't know about the outs?
Cruz from the Pirates.
So, did he run off? Did he just flip it wasn't one of the things that we caught a fly ball in center field, thought it was a third out, just starts trotting in from the outfield. And the next thing you know, dude, they're tagging up. They're running. Because we've seen that before. Guy's got no idea what it is. He started running in from the outfield. It's like, dude, bro, dude. It's like playing a video game. Dude, bro, dude, what you doing?
So it's O'Neal Cruz, Pirates outfielder. He lost track. He was hitting. He lost track of the outs, so he didn't run out a double play grounder. So they were down 7-3, runner on first, 1 out in the 7th. Cruz grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. He slowed down after the Brewers got the force play at second. Said afterward he believed that that was the third out of the inning. But credit to Pittsburgh Pirates manager Don Kelly, because when Brooks Lee, I guess you can't really pull him at that point at the end of the game, but Brooks Lee, I don't think was punished at all for not running out the strikeout that was in the dirt that ended the game. Pirates manager took out O'Neal Cruz, which is what you're supposed to do. You set a standard for your team.
I lost track of the game, man. Give him a break.
Can we remove you when you lose track of when it's break time?
Well, I lost. This happened within the last few weeks or last couple months. I thought we were. I was a segment ahead. I thought we'd already finished up. I said like Mark Rosen's next or something. It was only 1:30. So it'll happen sometimes. You know, what do they call it? A brain fart? So, but yeah, that's not good. But again, I'll say, and you're right. I know what you're going to say. So let me cut you off at the pass. It's the idea you got to know, and it's the principle thing. But they weren't coming back and winning that. He was going to get doubled off first base anyways. He wasn't going to beat out the throw. But yeah, you can't do that. You got to pay attention.
Question number 3.
All Vikings, let's win this game. You'll hear us yell for more.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the state of the skull.
Bet Online had some odds that may be of interest to us, Common, and they created some new props for the upcoming NFL season. And the one that they created was the stage of elimination for each NFL team. You can bet on when any team in the NFL can be eliminated.
Oh, I like this.
For the Vikings, they listed them as 4 to 5 to miss the playoffs. That means they're actually a slight favorite to not even make the playoffs. They are 13 to 4 to lose in the wild card round. 11 to 2 odds to lose in the division round. 12 to 1 to lose in the NFC Championship game. 28 to 1 to win the big game, and 33 to 1 to lose in the big game. Common, which would you be betting on?
On the 33 and the 33 to win it?
33 to 1 to get to the big game and lose, but they'd be 28 to 1 to win the big game.
So that means they think there's a better chance they'd get beat in the big game.
No.
Or is it the opposite?
It'd be the opposite, that if they got to the big game, there's a better chance they win.
Well, do they not know the history of this club? We'd lose that. We'd go 0-5. That's crazy.
Well, just getting there is long odds,
well,
so they've got that part.
True,
they got that part down.
It said, I just saw on the ticker, Van Fleet intends to sign a 2-year, $50 million deal. I would intend to sign it too. He intends, like that's breaking news. He intends to sign it. Like, I guess he could have pulled a Sprewell. Got to feed his family.
I always love that one.
I don't know which one of those I would take. I do think making the playoffs is going to be a challenge, and not just for the Vikings. Anybody, I think the NFC North, at least as I sit here today, I think it's going to be a dogfight. I said yesterday, I think it goes down to the final weekend of the season or the last couple of weekends where any of the 4 teams could win the division, and you could have. It's happened. You can have 3 teams in the playoffs from one division, right? It's happened. Happened last year, right?
Yeah.
Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay were all in.
You certainly could have 4.
And you could have 4. So I think it's going to be that kind of a division battle, and they all have tough schedules. But I think the Vikings, I think they'll make the playoffs, but after that, put it this way, the Vikings will make the playoffs, and you're on your own after that. But Vikings fell.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually, 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Little funky guitar there.
I like this one.
Yeah, it's really good. We're mixing it up.
All these songs are named.
Yeah.
This one's called You Jivin'.
Ooh.
I like You Jivin'.
I like You Jivin'. You be jiving. Jiving all day. Jiving all night. Driving all day. Driving all night. We be jiving. 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 We're pretty good. I know. I'll be Little Long Johns. And who will you be?
I'll have to come up with a name for me.
I'll be Little Long Johns and wear
a little pink shirt.
Yeah, little pink shirt. I like it.
A little pinky.
Ted, you got a keyword?
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword cash at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That keyword is cash. Enter now at KFAN.com.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at public.com. Go to public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
Unlock smarter learning with Lenovo AI-powered PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Head to Lenovo.com and choose from multiple devices to fit your passions. If you're a gamer, you can spend less time stressing about GPUs and CPUs and more time dominating with your AI-enabled Smart Engine, which optimizes your game performance in real time. Or maybe you're a scientist on the verge of a groundbreaking discovery and need a device with a longer battery life and AI-enhanced tools to give you extra time to finish your research. Or you're a musician preparing for your biggest break and need better, faster AI tools to make digital art a breeze, like creating band posters and t-shirt designs. Or you're a soon-to-be graduate needing to catch a recruiter's eye to land that dream job, so you need cutting-edge smart tools to build your portfolio from scratch. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Plus, college students and teachers get 5% off with an education account on Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Gear up for a hilarious night when Dane Cook returns to the Island Event Center. See his legendary style of stand-up comedy live at Treasure Island on Friday, October 24th. Get all the details right now at TICasino.com.
A Steely Dan type feel to it. What's this one called?
This one's called Yacht on the Rocks.
We beached that yacht up on the rocks. Oh, yeah. Then I cut my golden locks. Oh, and there she came and she was a fox. I could write music, man.
That sounds like a Grammy Award winner right there.
Yeah, that was not good. I'd send that to rewrite. I'd have to punch it up a little bit. That was pretty cheesy. Oh, you know what you could be? I'll be Lil Orange, you'll be Bust a Q-Tip. Because remember, you broke a Q-tip off and you had to go to the clinic.
I have gone back to using Q-tips, and every single time I'm thinking about it as I put them in.
I'm always where the cotton will just come out in there.
Well, that's what happened.
Well, I thought it was the whole thing broke in there.
No, the cotton fell off in there.
The cotton. Okay.
So I had to get that cotton out of there. Yeah.
I thought like the stick broke off too.
No, I'm not that aggressive.
Well, I thought maybe you were just grinding away in there, but bust a Q-tip. So I had something. Oh, in regards to the NBA draft, I know there was a piece today. I think it was Fish Wrap Factory West that had potential draft picks for the Wolves. And I do this with the NFL as well. That's what we do with the mocking. And I'm not suggesting that, and I think it might have been Chris Hine who did the piece. Not suggesting he's not in the know, but it's just all guesswork. You know, could be interest in this guy, rumors they might like this guy. Same thing with the NFL draft. We don't know. You know, doing a mock draft, they really, we don't know who they like or who they don't. And, again, as we've seen with Tim Connolly, he's not one to just generally stay on pat very often. He likes to move up and move down, and he he likes making bold and sometimes even what could be described as controversial moves. So the names listed there, there was a couple I recognized. There was the kid that was the MVP from Florida for the series, a 6'3" point guard. I forget his name now. And again, the question marks there is 6'3" for a combo guard. That's what I think he'd be here. He'd be a combo guard. That's not very big in the NBA. People always bring up, it was Spud Webb and Muggsy Bogues, but there's a reason you remember those names.
Yes.
The guys were 5'7" and 5'6"
Exception to the rule.
because they're exception to the rule. And you can be 6'. Steph Curry's 6'3". Steph Curry, I don't think we worry about height with him, but I don't think this kid's got Steph Curry type talent in him. But I guess I'd be okay with. There was the other one, the Queenie guy from Maryland. That's the one where remember when his height video or whatever they call it, his highlight video. The first video is him faking baby brother Peter out of his jock strap.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I've showed it to you. We played, didn't I show it to you?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I thought I showed it to you for sure.
I always love that one.
The Queenie guy, when he was playing for Sizzle, down in Atlanta. And then there were...
He broke BBP's ankle, is what you're saying.
Right. And then there were people commenting on it, and one guy said, why did they have little Jimmy Gardner?
I always love that
Little
one.
Jimmy or little Billy. Maybe it was little Billy or something like that. It's like, Queenie's I think he's got to be, 6'8", Pete's 5'10", 5'11", maybe. And the Queenie guy, he played for Maryland. He was one that hit that buzzer beater that looked like he traveled in the NCAA tournament that got Maryland to either the grade 8 or Sweet 6, whatever it was, where they got him to. But yeah, he's a good player. So there's some names I recognize.
What you don't see on the highlight video is BBP breaking his ankles the next possession on the way down.
You don't see that either.
No.
So yeah, I don't know. None of us do. If we move up, we move down, we package them, we try to get players that are already proven. And it's hard to get too excited about collegiate kids. I think, and I know, the greatest example is Joker. I think he was the 40th pick overall, and he's been MVP, 2-3 times? Hell of a player. So you can find quality NBA players, even superstars, later in the draft. But usually, for me, I'm so used to the Wolves having, picking in the top 5 anyway, right? It's more interesting that way. But it's hard for me to get too excited. We'll see how it goes. That's tonight. Then those Twins numbers tend to be, I highlighted a couple you did as well. Their losing streak, they've lost 6 consecutive home games. That's their longest home losing streak in 9 years. They've now lost 11 of 12. The Twins entered Tuesday, this was before the game, with a league worst 6.8 ERA over 21 games this month. They've allowed at least 9 runs in 7 of their last 13 games. That's like slow pitch softball, right? That's not big league baseball. They've allowed, I'll repeat it, they've allowed at least 9 runs in 7 of their last 13 games. And I think 2 of those... You've got to
be kidding me.
Were 16 runs. I think they bookended some game where they gave up 8, and on either side of that, it was 16. It was just awful. Here's another note. After spearheading, this is from Fish Wrap, I believe. After spearheading a 13-game winning streak in May, Twins pitchers saw their walk rate spike in June, their strikeout rate drop, and opposing hitters have a 281 batting average against them. 281. That's extraordinary. And then this one. This is the one that really sums it up to me. Twins pitchers have yielded 148 runs in June, entering Tuesday, which is 34 more runs than the next worst pitching staff.
You've got to be kidding me.
More runs. It's almost, how about Biggie Toes? Because if you're near accident with the lawnmower, Biggie Toes. Or how about someone says Biggie Bridge producer, or just Biggie Bridge? You could be Biggie Bridge. I kind of like that. There's so many, though I do like Bust a Q-Tip probably the best.
You're not going to beat that one.
It'd be hard to.
By the way, the lawn mowing, my wife has suggested that, Leo is 10 years old now, that we allow Leo to start taking over the lawnmower and doing this. when you're a dad that almost sliced off your toe, it's hard to then just give those duties now to a 10-year-old child. So I don't know if I can go through. I don't know if I can go through with it.
Well, I've had my boys. I've been criticized for this, and probably rightly so. I've never had my kids do any kind of chores at the house, other than just pick up after themselves, which they're not very good at. I've had them both mow the lawn before. But then I'm like, it's not their lawn; it's my lawn. I mean, they share the lawn, but it's my lawn, and I don't mind. And I don't mind mowing the lawn. I mean, there are days I don't want to. Like, matter of fact, I had to mow it Saturday or Sunday when it was 90 degrees outside, right? But, I don't mind mowing the lawn. I kind of get a kick out of it. I feel like an artist out there. I do a different pattern. You know what I've really wanted to do is let it get really long and then make a little miniature golf course back there where I mow a fairway, first cut a rough in a second. Then, I got a big enough yard. I could probably have like 3 holes, right? I could have a couple of par threes, maybe a par 4. It'd be fun. And my dad did that.
I wish I had one of those properties, like those 1.5 acre properties.
Yeah. My dad, back when we were living on 1033 86th Avenue Northwest down in Coon Rapids, he built. We had a front yard, then we went around the side, and then into the backyard. And he built for the 4th of July. And his brothers come over. We had a 4th of July party. That's what my dad did. He took frozen orange juice cans and used those for cups. And he made greens in the yard, and same thing where he had rough and fairway and stuff like that. And I think what he did was he had like old rake poles, and he used those for the pins with flags on them. And they had like a 4 or 5 hole golf course. And I mentioned the other day that my Uncle Laddie passed away last week, and I caddied for Uncle Laddie that day. And it was so much fun because I'd carry his. They're only having like 2 clubs, a wedge and a putt or whatever. And I'll never forget when Laddie got so annoyed. We had a Pleasant Creek that ran through our backyard. He threw his club into the creek, and I had to climb into the creek to pull it out.
I always love that one.
Did he pull it out himself?
No, I was just caddy. That's my job. So that's what I did. So,
by the way, the name of this song, I think you can make a good song out of Shaggin' Wagon.
When the shaggin' wagon's rocking, don't bother knocking. It's my shaggin' wagon.
Shaggin' wagon.
Shaggin' wagon.
Shaggin' wagon.
Falsetto. Shaggin' wagon. We'll be shaggin' in our wagon, a little red wagon. What is it? Something flyer?
I know what you're talking about,
yeah. Whatever it is. We'll work on that one as well. Oh, you know what else you could be? How about this? You could be, here's a good name for you, Lil Decaf. Because you don't drink coffee. GI Casino, Lil Long Johns, and Lil Decaf. Shaggin' Wagon! All their hits, including Shaggin' Wagon!
And you jivin'.
You jivin'.
Yacht on the rocks.
And I'm driving Yacht on the rocks with her yellow locks. Rock Talk is next here on the Fan.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at Public.com. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
Unlock smarter learning with Lenovo AI-powered PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Head to Lenovo.com and choose from multiple devices to fit your passions. If you're a gamer, you can spend less time stressing about GPUs and CPUs and more time dominating with your AI-enabled Smart Engine, which optimizes your game performance in real time. Or maybe you're a scientist on the verge of a groundbreaking discovery and need a device with a longer battery life and AI-enhanced tools to give you extra time to finish your research. Or you're a musician preparing for your biggest break and need better, faster AI tools to make digital art a breeze, like creating band posters and t-shirt designs. candidates. Or you're a soon-to-be graduate needing to catch a recruiter's eye to land that dream job. So you need cutting-edge smart tools to build your portfolio from scratch. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel Inside. Plus, college students and teachers get 5% off with an education account on Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
I'm Molly Roberts.
And I'm Drew Goins. Each Friday on Impromptu, we talk through the questions we can't stop thinking about.
Do we need to rethink how much we drink?
Why are companies really asking workers to come back to the office?
Does boycotting a business actually work?
Should we quit social media?
We're here when the news gets personal and the headlines hit home.
Join Molly and me every Friday on Impromptu from Washington Post Opinions.
Find Impromptu wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Oh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Bad Company was smack dab in the middle of when arena rock was big in the 70s. When you and I were really into music, I loved. First concert I ever saw, Metropolitan Sports Center. BTO, Bachman, Let It Ride, taking care of business, along with the Climax Blues Band. I'm the son of the seventh son.
What else was the other one? Couldn't Get It Right is Climax Blues Band. That was a hit.
Yeah, that was a hit. That was a top
I love
40
it. So my first stadium show ever was Kiss, 1979. I was 11 years old, had no idea what I was getting myself into. Judas Priest was the opener, but my dad, hey, by the way, shout out to my dad who recently turned 81, turned me on to two of the stories we're going to talk about today because my dad still loves music. Mm-hmm. He is the inspiration for my love of music, still has great taste in music, so shout out to my dad, Ron. But we were sitting there at home, and I think he was something of a wild child when he was younger, and now suddenly he was a family man with two kids, and the Kiss commercial came on TV. I'm 11. I don't know who Kiss is, but they were dressed like demons and they were spitting blood and there were jets of flame. Right. And I turned around. I remember we were watching TV and there was a commercial for their upcoming show at Med Center. And I'm like, Dad, can we go to that? Because I liked rock and roll. I'd been digging through records, but that looked like a different world right there. And he's like, yeah. And so we did. He got us a couple of tickets, but I didn't really appreciate what I was seeing when I saw Judas Priest in 1979, because I've come to very much love that band. But Kiss, those big arena shows, man, the 70s is where it sort of got defined. Bands were usually playing, even popular bands, more in like theater or outdoor settings prior to that.
Mick Ralphs died on June 23rd, a couple of days ago, from complications of a 2016 stroke. He had just played what turned out to be his final show with Bad Company. Went into a stroke, and according to the story, he was bedridden from that moment on.
Almost 10 years.
Yeah, almost 10 years. Passed away. But it's the quintessential, like I said, and I talked about it a little earlier when I was highlighting your appearance here. It's one of those typical, or is it prototypical, or what's the word I'm looking for?
It depends.
It was just those stories where so many rock and rollers and musicians, they come from, they come from different regions.
Archetypical.
Archetype, is that what I'm looking for?
Like the archetype. I mean, it's a classic story where you've got these bands and artists who have already made it on their own, but they either are bored or something happens or there's an untimely death and they team up. And just like
creative differences is what a lot of it is.
You have been in radio for a long time, so over the course of the years, same here, you kind of get to know everybody else who's doing it. And the same thing with these, stars at this level. So, just because the bands didn't play together, they still ran in the same same circles, bumped into each other at recording studios, parties, whatever the case may be. And then, you bumped it up, and you sit around one weekend and you bitch about the industry and start strumming your guitars, and next thing you know, you've got one of the coolest bands of the 70s.
Ralph's was Mott the Hoople. There are people that might recognize the name. There was a fiction book, apparently some novel of some sort,
I'm not
called
even sure.
Mott the Hoople.
Okay.
And that's where they got the name. And Ralph's got together with just pals of his. Said, let's make a band. Pete Overend Watts, he was a bass guitar player. Organist Verdon Allen and drummer Dale Griffin. They became Mott the Hoople. They were cultish. I mean, they're not a...
They didn't kick down... They only really ever had one proper hit. Correct. They had a couple other songs that charted, and they were bigger in the UK than here. But no, Mott the Hoople is the very definition of a one-hit wonder here in the States.
Yeah, and certainly a very cultish band. You know, everybody has that band that not many other people really care for. They go, I love that band. And
the best-known name out of the band, Ian Hunter, he didn't even join until 3 or 4 albums in. I mean, they were already as far as well-established as they were, and then Ian came in, and with a little assistance from David Bowie, they kind of kicked it over to the next level.
And you understood that. You had heard that story before.
I knew that story because the first time I ever heard All the Young Dudes, I thought it was a David Bowie song.
Right.
Turns out it was a David Bowie song. He wrote it, he produced the whole album, but he kind of gave it to them as a gift because they were spinning their wheels. They'd hit the wall. It wasn't going to happen for him.
And he said
he was a fan. David Bowie liked him.
He was a fan of theirs and said, I have a song. You can record it. You don't have to do anything with it if you don't want. That revitalized their career.
But basically gave them a proper career.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were all working before, and they were respected musicians. But like Ralph's name, I literally hadn't heard before today, and he's a founding member of 2 genuinely great British bands.
The part of the story I read in Guitar World, and Guitar World's one of my favorite websites.
Yeah.
He talks about how this is so cool. He goes, I went back and got the lads and said, come on, I know a few people in London. Let's try to get ourselves a deal. He recalled in an interview with Guitar Player. And then an old friend of mine, Dave Mason, again, from Traffic, also had his own solo career. He played acoustic guitar on Jimi Hendrix's All Along the Watchtower, though you don't really hear the acoustic guitar, but he's there.
When all these guys kind of came up at the same time, like in the early 60s when blues absolutely ran the game over in UK popular music and hipster music and rock music, all these people came up on that and went into, like Dave Mason, another perfect example.
So then Mason goes, hey, let me introduce you to somebody from Island Records. I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. Introduce him. Lo and behold, next thing you know, he got a record deal.
Nice.
Just by knowing somebody. Then he goes, then Ian Hunter came along and joined the group as a new singer, and we were signed as Mott the Hoople. I stayed with them from 69 until late 73. He said, went through a lot of different styles. We started out playing some of our own songs, some rhythm and blues and some blues. Then our manager, come guiding light, Guy Stevens, decided that we should do a Bob Dylan blonde on blonde type of thing. I liked the way Robbie Robertson played guitar with Dylan, so I was into that. We had an organ player, so I could play more lead guitar instead of having to keep the rhythm together. Then I'd just sit back and keep the rhythm section together by filling in with chords while the organ player would do his things. I also started playing the piano a little bit when I joined that group. So they started just doing different styles of music and such like that. Then eventually they split apart because, again, it was creative differences. He talks about, I could find
You mean like how Ian Hunter basically couldn't sing the songs that he was writing. He was writing them, and he says even in the piece, no disrespect intended to Ian Hunter, who's obviously a very dynamic frontman and a great singer, but these songs didn't fit his voice or his attitude. You mentioned the line to me about where he's like, Ian just wanted to scream about politics, and I wanted to talk about more mundane humdrum stuff like, getting it on.
Yeah, well, it says here, the group was getting more and more away from what it started out as a rock and roll band. It was good fun band, like a street band. We never made any money, but we were out there having a hell of a good time, and that was all that mattered. But we got to the point where we were disillusioned in as much as we were working our asses off and not really getting anywhere.
Right.
We weren't in the charts, and we weren't selling any records. We were just like a cult band. That's when David Bowie offered them the song that went big, and then they broke up, and then lo and behold, Ralph's meets up with Paul Rogers. of the band Free, which
they had been friends before, and
Right.
Free again was another one, a perfect example of a band that was popular enough that they were a band and had a couple albums under their belt, but they weren't breaking into the U.S. was the key. The whole British invasion, the '60s changed what it meant to be in a British band. You had to break the States, or you weren't ever really going to arrive. And Free never really broke in the States. Mott the Hoople barely. But then you take the two most creative forces from both those bands, because to this day, I believe that Paul Rodgers has one of the greatest voices in all of rock history. I would agree. Love Paul Rodgers' voice, and I mean, because he can do the quiet stuff. He can just absolutely smash on the monster, giant, epic rock anthem notes, and you know, Ralph's obviously is exceptional at guitar and at songwriting, and Bad Company was bigger than both Free and Mott the Hoople combined.
Free, if you listen to their, I think it's the very first album, it is. Again, it's not one of those that people would look at as like, put it on the same level as a Led Zeppelin or Rolling Stone. But if you listen to it,
great.
There's brilliant songwriting. I listened to the entire album about 6 months ago, whenever Bad Company was inducted into the Hall. They're going into the Hall of Fame in this next, whenever they had this.
Long overdue, baby.
Yeah, is it coming up soon where they're actually having the induction ceremony? I don't think they've done it yet. Anyway,
no, they haven't.
Anyway, so they were just talking about Paul Rodgers. And so I went back and I listened to the entire album, and it's simply brilliant. All Right Now, I would say, is a top 25 rock anthem of all time. I think it's that good.
Which song?
All Right Now by...
by Free?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can put it that high, but it's absolutely...
It's top 50.
It's of all time?
Yeah.
All songs?
All rock anthems. Like
No.
that, yeah. No?
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, again, it's a list you'd have to sit down and really think about, because there are, let's be honest, there are a lot of bangers out there, okay?
For sure.
But this, I mean, it's an undeniably awesome song. I love that song. Can't Get Enough of Your Love. Again, Paul Rodgers has a knack for, and regardless of who's doing the songwriting, he has a way of singing those Baby I'ma Want You songs in a way that brings a real blues heft to the scenario, if you will.
Bobby Sherman.
Bobby Sherman, man.
81 years old, the quintessential teen idol.
I guess the Angel of Death is back.
Yeah,
isn't
he's
he?
back. He was. I read the obit / bio story on him.
Right.
He was actually discovered by some Hollywood actors.
Sal Mineo.
Yeah, they saw him and they said, "We need to put you in touch with the right people." And the next thing you know, he became a pop star. He had like 4 top 10 hits.
He went to a cast party for some movie that had come out. He was friends with Sal Mineo, and according to some, yet to be confirmed reports from back in the day, more than just friends with Sal Mineo. There was much speculation at the time. Sal Mineo was out by 1970s, openly bisexual, whatever. That's secondary to the story. He got him into this place, and he got up and sang a couple songs. And of course, at a cast party, there's going to be agents. There's going to be movers and shakers. An agent saw him there, signed him up immediately for 24 episodes of an old TV show called Shindig, and that is Shindig with an exclamation point. Those kind of old, cool, groovy 60s show. Think, Marsha Brady, who's a square but also really loves music. Shindig was a show made for her. You had these beautiful young people doing covers of all the popular hits of the day, and he was good looking. He was the master of the puka shell necklace. He was up there with what's his name?
David Cassidy.
David Cassidy, thank you. But they both very much. But he was like impossibly actor good looking as well as being a decent singer. But you're right. Then he got himself into the charts, got like 10 hits, and then really acting took over his life. He became more of an actor than a musician. Again, not a superstar, but if you paid attention to popular music or popular culture in the 60s or from the 60s, if you weren't around during then, Bobby Sherman is absolutely a fixture.
Well, he was in that era with David Cassidy and others in which they were. I mean, they were.
He was a heartthrob. He was in all the teen magazines.
They were what Justin Bieber eventually became, right? One of those guys. And you're right. The posters on the walls of all the gals.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was created to be a star, right?
He was one of those He was perfectly, it looked like he was made in a laboratory for it. Granted, he had great handlers around him and, was kind of given these opportunities, but he was a super good looking dude and he had a good voice, great smile. Those teeth were those are the 2000s teeth back in the 1960s. And he had great hair, and turns out he could also strum and play a few songs and sing a few songs. And then his acting career, actually it wasn't embarrassing like, a rock star wants to act. He was in several different long-running TV series.
He was in his, I think the biggest hit show it only lasted 2 years. It was called Here Comes the Bride, 1968 to 1970.
Based on the story of Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
I remember watching that as a kid. It was on TV. Yeah. The parents would watch it. I remember that. And then what's really interesting is I saw some quotes from him where, then all of a sudden the stardom starts to wear off. You're not as popular. He said he was running himself to death. He was shooting shows 5 days a week. Then on Saturdays and Sundays, he's doing concerts, flying back. Eventually the stardom wore off, right? So then he became I think it was an EMT.
Yeah, exactly.
And he started doing that. He said he carries EMT stuff in his car, so that if he runs across somebody that's had an accident, he's delivered 5 babies, apparently.
He wasn't just into it. He started to do it because he said when he was young, he had 2 boys, and when you're that protective father type, you're like, they're going to fall out of a tree, they're going to have a bike accident, something. So he got certified in first aid, and then he loved it so much that it became a big part of his life. He didn't just become an EMT. He got so well versed in it that he was an instructor for LA County fire departments and PDs all over the place, and did that for as much of his life as he did anything else, and apparently thrived at it. He said he had never been happier in his work than when he was doing the EMT instruction.
And that's what's interesting, because, so many rock stars that flame out, it goes drastically wrong, right?
Absolutely.
They can't accept that it gets bad.
There's not a second act.
No, there's not a second act, and he was able to create a second act, and it worked out very well for him. But he had stage 4 kidney cancer, and it was only made public back in March, and he died day before yesterday. Again, another one at the age of 81, by the way. You may remember both Sly and Brian Wilson checked out at the age of 81. Now we've got it's the new 27.
Oh, wow.
Remember, it used to be 20.
But here's the deal. It used to be like, even if they got out of their 20s, they didn't make it much further than that. So to see people like this from the entertainment era make it, and again, there's probably a ton of people listening like, who gives a rip about Bobby Sherman? The reason you and I do this is because we like the connective tissue. We like the behind the scenes. Yeah. We like the hits. We're huge music fans, but we like these interconnected stories, the way it impacts pop culture, the way culture influenced who and how these artists evolved and who they became. It's endlessly fascinating to me. I couldn't name a Bobby Sherman song with a gun to my head.
Right.
But I like the story. It's a cool story.
Tenebee, do we have time for UK versus USA or not? Do you think we have time? Or did I throw it too quickly?
We could, if you want to rush through it, we could do it.
Do you want to do UK, USA, or save that for another time?
Unless you got something else. I got one more.
Then let's save that for another time.
We can save it, we can save it for next time.
UK, USA.
There's not a tremendous amount of meat on this bone, but it is another dead rock star.
Let's gnaw on it.
Let's go ahead and see what's available here. You are familiar, of course, with Lou Christie and his song Lightning Strikes.
Yeah.
He had other minor hits, but again, you could almost call him a one-hit wonder because Lightning Strikes was a massive hit. I think it went to number 1. It for sure went to number 2.
Great song.
So you know it, right, Tana?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just...
Well, Tana can sing it because it's done,
Well, I was going to say, he was kind of a Frankie Valli type in terms of the way he put his music out there.
I always loved that.
But something I didn't know, that I was talking to my mom and dad the other day. By the way, if you're out there, call your mom and dad. I'm lucky enough to still have both of mine, and I talk to them on the regular now, and I wasn't always so good about that. It's worth it. Call your parents if you can sometime today or tomorrow. Actually, don't put it off till tomorrow. Do it today. Anyway, I was talking with them, and I think my mom brought up, she's like, wasn't there some controversy about his song Lightning Strikes? And I'm like, well, I wasn't there the first time it was a hit, and so I don't know. But a little digging on the internet, the archive of all accumulated human knowledge and experience up to this point. Apparently, in that number 1 song, the original lyrics were so racy that the album got banned in certain places, pulled in other places. No. He had to go back into the studio and re-record the lyrics of this particular verse. Here's the original. Now, again, by today's standards, Totally okay.
Okay, so we're okay here.
You tell
the
me.
Quoting of the lyrics is Brian Oak, and iHeart and Common Man have nothing to do with it.
Exactly, and they don't have approve any of the messages or any of that kind of stuff. Here's the original words. Baby, the raindrops play for me. Again, the song's called Lightning Strikes. Baby, the raindrops play for me, our lovely rhapsody. Because on our first date, we were making out in the rain, and in this car, our love went much too far.
No.
It was,
baby.
It was as exciting as thunder. Tonight, I wonder where you are. Now that, I mean, it was when everyone knows it's kind of like
distancing myself from you.
It's kind of like Wake Up Little Susie, right? It's like he doesn't ever say anything too bad, but the implication is that
right.
But what they changed the line to was instead of we were making out in the rain, because apparently making out was even too racy, and in this car our love went much too far. They changed that line to we fell in love in the rain, and in this car love came like a falling star.
Oh,
man, no wonder we're weak. All right, no wonder we're weak.
That reminds me
again, making out. That was too racy for mid-60s radio.
Now, you're familiar with the Knack and My Sharona. They had a secondary hit,
which is better than My Sharona.
I think it's
Good Girls Don't.
It's quintessential pop song for that era.
Oh, and it's quintessential horny teenager music.
They had to change the words to that, and I can see why. Because I mean it's
already pretty suggestive.
Well, but it's really suggestive. I mean, some of the quote, but it's Good Girls Don't was. And it's like, if you watch the video of it, now the Feger, the lead singer, I can't remember his first name.
Sure.
He passed away in his 50s.
Yeah.
And he wrote that song years before, and they needed something else on the album and said, well, let's do this one that I've done long before, according to the history that I wrote about it. And he didn't even really particularly care for the song anymore, but it became their secondary hit. But his brother, if I read it correctly, his brother was like the United States. He was like the Attorney General for like the state of New York or something. You couldn't have two brothers going in completely different directions. One straight-laced attorney, legal guy, other guy, rock star, singing about teenage angst.
Yeah, well, more than teenage angst, but yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, so changing the lyrics and songs have been done forever.
Well,
right?
I mean, at the time, because the song immediately was a smash, but then people started to listen to it, and of course, it's kind of come full circle. Back then, people who were into radio were obviously interested in doing a different type of business, and then in the 60s and 70s, you got a bunch of long hairs in charge of everything, and that's probably when it had the greatest spirit. And then now these days, we're back to bean counters running the show.
Yeah.
But, you hear a saucy lyric like that back in the 60s, making out. Our love went much too far.
Yeah, baby.
I don't know. It's a little steamy on Rock Talk today.
My favorite was Harry Chapin's Taxi, where he says, we learned about love in the back of a Dodge. The lesson hadn't gone too far. It's just brilliant. We learned about love in the back of a Dodge. Always good to see you. Have a you have a podcast.
I do. Occasionally we do webinars, but yeah, my podcast is called The Brian Oak Show. Rapidly approaching episode 500. Deals a lot with local music, local people, local highlights. It's a very much upper Midwestern focused podcast, and you can find it on the all-free iHeartRadio app, #1 for podcasting.
We'll see you next Wednesday for Rock Talk.
I'll be there.
That's Brian Oak. Mark Rosen joins us next here on The Fan.
And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s, a legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash.
Ready to step out of the financial history museum? At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
Let your imagination take flight with an AI-powered PC from Lenovo. Whether it's creating digital art, designing new software, or building a portfolio for a future career, our PCs are powered by Intel Core Ultra processors to help students unlock smarter learning and unleash their creativity. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. All you have to do is choose the one that fits your passion. Head to Lenovo.com to shop AI PCs and find your perfect companion. Plus, get 5% off when you create an education account.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
Stuck in the same day-to-day routine? Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat? Break through the boredom this summer and download Call of Duty Mobile for free. Enjoy fan-favorite maps, modes, and operators from classic Call of Duty titles, plus new mobile-exclusive content. Today doesn't have to suck. Cure your boredom for free with Call of Duty almost anywhere, anytime. Call of Duty Mobile is available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store for free today. Rated M for mature.